The silk of the wedding dress felt like a cage against her skin. Immani Balogun stood trembling in the massive penthouse overlooking Busan's glittering skyline. The city lights sparkled against the darkness like scattered diamonds on black velvet. Her new husband moved silently behind her, his footsteps barely audible on the marble floor. Kang Jae-min loosened his tie, dark eyes fixed on her with clinical detachment. "Tell me, did your father explain what I bought?" His voice was soft, dangerous. Immani's hands shook as she clutched the champagne glass tighter. I don't understand." Jaemin's lips curved into a cold smile that never reached his eyes. "I think you do. When my father sold my sister to the most dangerous man in Korea, he thought he was saving our empire. He didn't know he was giving that man a reason to destroy it. If you're enjoying this story, make sure to hit the subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you never miss our uploads. Drop a comment below telling us what you think will happen next." 10 years earlier in Lagos, Nigeria, 8-year-old Zara stood clutching a small suitcase outside the imposing gates of the Balogun estate. Chief Tunde Balogun, a rising political star with connections throughout West Africa, led her through manicured gardens toward a mansion that seemed to touch the clouds. "This is your home now," he said, his voice warm but distracted. His wife, Folemi, bent down with a practiced smile. "We always wanted another daughter," she said, smoothing Zara's curls. "After your mother passed away at our hospital, well, it seemed like fate." What she didn't say, the scandal of a woman dying because she couldn't afford treatment at their private hospital, needed damage control. Adopting her orphaned daughter was excellent publicity. For 3 years, Zara was the perfect addition. Quiet, studious, grateful. She excelled in her expensive private school, learned to speak with the refined accent expected in political circles, and never caused problems. Then Immani was born. The biological daughter, the true heir, the miracle child they'd stopped hoping for. Zara wasn't discarded. That would look bad to the voters. Instead, she became background decoration. A charity case mentioned in campaign speeches, proof of the family's generosity. By 16, Zara had mastered invisibility. She learned to navigate the mansion's halls without being noticed, want to observe without being observed, to listen while appearing not to hear. "The Americans are asking questions about the offshore accounts," she overheard Chief Balogun telling his financial advisor one night. "Move everything through the Korean shell companies. Their regulations are more flexible." The advisor frowned. "Sir, those routes are already flagged. We need a new structure." Balogun waved his hand dismissively. "Then find one. That's what I pay you for." Later that night, Zara slipped into the study. Her father's financial passwords were embarrassingly simple. Immani's birthday. She spent hours studying the accounts, tracing the money flows, understanding the patterns. For 3 nights, she worked silently, creating spreadsheets, analyzing risk factors. On the 4th night, she compiled a comprehensive restructuring proposal with new routing suggestions that would avoid regulatory flags. She saved the file with the family company prefix, BAL-, FinRestructure 2024.pdf, at the bottom of page 47, a small signature, Z. Adeyemi, her birth name. The one thing they couldn't take from her. 2 weeks later, Chief Balogun clapped his financial advisor on the back. "The Americans have backed off. Whatever you did worked brilliantly." The advisor looked confused, but accepted the praise. Zara watched from the doorway, invisible as always. While Immani partied through university, Zara was sent abroad to study finance and corporate law. Not out of love, out of utility. They needed someone who understood international banking, someone who could clean up messes without asking questions, someone expendable. In Seoul, a different scene unfolded. Kang Jae-min sat at his desk in the Hanyul Consortium headquarters, the city sprawling beneath his 50th floor office. At 35, he controlled shipping routes throughout Southeast Asia, security firms across 3 continents, and enough politicians to ensure his operations remained untouchable. His assistant placed a folder before him. "The Nigerian accounts, sir." Jae-min opened it, scanning the pages with narrowed eyes. His finger stopped on a transaction log showing multiple fraudulent transfers. "Sloppy," he murmured. "Find out who's behind this." But as he flipped through the pages, he paused. Someone had already flagged these issues. Someone had already implemented corrections, clean, elegant solutions that preserved capital while reducing risk. At the bottom of one file, Z. Adeyemi, Jae-min circled the name. Find everything on this person. 3 months later, Chief Balogan received the call that would change everything. His private line. The one only family and close associates knew. Chief Balogan, a coldly polite voice said in accented English. This is Park Sung-ho, representing Hanyul Consortium. Balogan's smile faded. I wasn't expecting your call until next quarter. Plans change. Our audit reveals you owe our organization 40 billion won through layered contracts, approximately 30 million US dollars. Blood drained from Balogan's face. There must be a mistake. The mistake was yours. Mr. Kang would like to meet. 3 days later, a sleek black Maybach pulled up to the Balogun estate. Park Sung-ho emerged alone, carrying a leather portfolio. Mr. Kang sends his regrets, Sung-ho said smoothly, as he was shown to Balogun's study. He's handling business in Busan, but he authorized me to present our solution. Balogun's hands trembled slightly as he accepted the portfolio. Inside lay a single contract, elegantly printed in English and Korean. A marriage alliance? Balogun stared at the document. Between your CEO and my daughter? Sung-ho nodded. Mr. Kang values family connections over monetary debts. This arrangement would dissolve your financial obligations completely. Your family gains protection, legitimate business opportunities, and international connections. And what does Kang get? Balogun asked suspiciously. Political access in West Africa, legitimate family ties, a bridge between cultures. Sung-ho's smile didn't reach his eyes. Everyone wins. Later that evening, Balogun called a family meeting. Falami sat rigidly on the sofa. Immani lounged nearby, scrolling through her phone. Zara stood quietly by the window, watching raindrops race down the glass. We have a situation, Balogun began. He explained the debt, carefully omitting details of how it accumulated, and laid out the marriage proposal. Immani's head snapped up. You're selling me to some Korean gangster? He's a legitimate businessman, Balogun corrected sharply. CEO of a multinational conglomerate. And this isn't selling, it's a strategic alliance. Which you're forcing on me, Immani shouted. Falami touched her daughter's arm. Darling, please, your father wouldn't suggest this if there were another way. Zara watched the drama unfold, mind calculating. She knew exactly how the debt had accumulated. She knew exactly which transfers had triggered the audit. What happens if I refuse? Immani demanded. Balogun's expression hardened. We lose everything. The house, the companies, my political career, everything. Fine, Immani finally agreed, tears streaming down her face. But I'm not living in Korea permanently. He can visit me here. As arrangements progressed, Zara remained in the shadows. The contract never specified which daughter, just daughter of Chief Tunda Balogun. No one thought to clarify. No one thought to mention Zara at all. 3 weeks before the wedding, Jaemin received a dossier containing photos of his bride-to-be. He flipped through images of Immani at parties, at charity events, on beaches in Dubai. Then he paused, seeing a partial image. Another woman in the background of one photo, standing behind the family at a political rally. He held the photo closer. This isn't the one who wrote the numbers. In Busan, final preparations for the wedding were underway. Immani arrived with a 12-person entourage, demanding suite upgrades and complaining about the weather. Jaemin arranged everything she requested, but did not meet her until the ceremony. The wedding was small but extravagant. Jaemin's inner circle, Chief Balogun and his wife, a few carefully selected politicians and business leaders. Zara stood in the back, wearing a simple blue dress, watching her sister become the bride of the Blue Dragon. During the reception, Jaemin's eyes kept finding her. Not with interest, but with calculation, as if solving a puzzle. When he finally approached her, his words were unexpected. You restructured the Daewon shipping route last year. It wasn't a question. Zara's eyes widened slightly, the only indication of her surprise. I noticed inefficiencies, she replied carefully. So did I. His gaze was penetrating. You'll be returning to Lagos tomorrow? Yes. Jaemin nodded once. We'll speak again. 2 days after returning to Lagos, Chief Balogun received another call. The deal has changed, Park Sung-ho informed him. Mr. Kang requires someone to oversee the integration of your African assets, someone who understands both the financial structures and cultural nuances. I'll send my finance director. He specifically requested your daughter. Balogun frowned. My daughter just returned from the wedding. Surely you don't expect— Not Mrs. Ha Kang, Sung-ho interrupted. Your other daughter, Zara Adeyemi. That night, Balagun summoned Zara to his study. Pack your things, he said without preamble. You're going to Busan. Kang wants someone to handle the financial integration, and he's asked for you specifically. Zara's expression remained neutral. For how long? 6 months, maybe longer, until this mess is sorted. Balogun ran a hand over his face. This is important, Zara. Our family's future depends on keeping Kang happy. I understand. Do you? His eyes narrowed. He's not a man to be crossed. You'll do exactly as he asks, no questions. If he's satisfied, we all benefit. If he's not— He left the threat hanging. 3 days later, Zara stepped into the gleaming headquarters of Hanyul Consortium. 70 floors of glass and steel overlooking Busan Harbor. The building was a monument to power. Park Sung-ho met her in the lobby. Mr. Kang is expecting you. The elevator ascended silently to the top floor. Sung-ho led her through a minimalist corridor to a set of black lacquered doors. He knocked once and opened them without waiting for a response. Jaemin stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, hands clasped behind his back. He turned as she entered, his expression unreadable. Ms. Adeyemi, he said, dismissing Sung-ho with a slight nod. Thank you for coming. I wasn't given a choice, Zara replied honestly. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. Few of us are. He gestured to a chair across from his desk. As Zara sat, he remained standing. I've reviewed your work extensively, he said. The restructuring plan, the risk mitigation strategies, the currency hedging proposal. We all remarkable? Zara remained silent. What interests me, he continued, is why someone with your abilities would allow others to take credit for her work. My family provided me with education, opportunity. Your family used you, Jaemin interrupted, just as they're using my wife. The bluntness of his statement surprised her. You know why I'm here, Zara said finally. What exactly do you want from me? Jaemin sat across from her, dark eyes intent. I want the mind that created those solutions, working not for your father, but for me. As what? Another decorative acquisition? As a partner? The word hung between them. So you're the mind they tried to bury, he said softly. I've been looking for you. The first week established their dynamic. Zara was given an office on the executive floor, and access to all financial records, and authority to review operations. She was introduced as Financial Strategic Advisor, a title invented for her. Each morning, she met with Jaemin to discuss findings and recommendations. Each evening, she returned to the luxury apartment he'd arranged for her, 15 floors below his penthouse, but in the same building. They worked well together. Her analytical precision complemented his strategic vision. She spoke directly, without flattery or fear, and he responded with unexpected respect. Your sister called again, Jaemin mentioned casually during their third week. She's unhappy in Lagos. Immani is often unhappy, Zara replied. She wants to move to Seoul, not Busan. And you? Jaemin's expression revealed nothing. The marriage was a business arrangement. Her location is irrelevant to me. Zara studied him. Then why tell me? Because you understand what I need from this alliance. She doesn't. As weeks passed, Korean business tabloids began speculating about the mysterious Nigerian woman frequently seen entering Jaemin's office. Photos appeared of them leaving corporate headquarters together, heads bent in conversation. Blue Dragon's new confidant, one headline blared. Who is the woman behind the power? In Lagos, Immani saw the articles. Her calls to Jaemin went straight to voicemail. Her messages received brief, formal replies. When she tried contacting Zara, the responses were equally professional and distant. Your sister is stealing my husband, she sobbed to their father. Balogun frowned. Don't be dramatic. She's handling business matters. Business? Immani laughed bitterly. They're seen together constantly. The Korean press calls her his right hand. What am I supposed to be? What terrified Immani wasn't losing Jaemin's affection. She'd never had it. What terrified her was losing her position. If Zara replaced her publicly, what happened to her status? Her inheritance? Her protection? 1 month after Zara's arrival in Busan, Jaemin invited her to dinner. Not in the corporate dining room, but at a small traditional restaurant overlooking the harbor. They sat in a private room with sliding paper doors, the the city lights, and ocean spread before them. Your recommendations have increased efficiency by 22%, Jamin said as they ate. The board is impressed. The inefficiencies were obvious once I understood your operations, Zara replied. Jamin studied her. Why did you help your father hide his illegal activities? You knew what he was doing. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Hit that like button and leave a comment below telling us your favorite character. Your support helps us create more content like this. Zara set down her chopsticks. My father took me in when I had nothing, when my mother died because she couldn't afford treatment at his hospital. Jamin's eyes narrowed slightly. Your mother died at his hospital? Yes. She couldn't pay for her cancer treatments. The hospital stopped providing care. Zara's voice remained steady. Chief Balogan adopted me afterward. For publicity. And yet you protected him? I protected the system I existed within, until I could find a way out. She met his gaze directly. Why did you marry my sister when you clearly have no interest in her? A ghost of a smile touched his lips. Direct. I like that. He poured more tea before answering. I needed legitimate business connections in West Africa. Marriage provides social camouflage for certain operations. And now? Now I have something more valuable. His dark eyes held hers. Someone who understands systems from the inside. The next day, Jamin made his offer. They stood in his office, the morning sun casting long shadows across the floor. 8% equity in Hanuel's African operations, he said. Full legal immunity from your father's financial crimes. Protection? In exchange for what? Zara asked. Help me expose the fraudulent transfers your father orchestrated, the ones that implicate certain Korean officials. Zara's expression revealed nothing. You're asking me to destroy my family. I'm asking you to free yourself from them. She considered this. I want 8% equity in the Korean subsidiary, not just the African operations, and an independent board vote. Jamin raised an eyebrow. You negotiate against the Blue Dragon? I negotiate with a potential partner. Her gaze was steady. Those are my terms. After a long moment, Jamin nodded. Agreed. With the deal sealed, Zara became more than a consultant. She attended board meetings. She reviewed security protocols. She traveled with Jamin to Shanghai, Tokyo, Singapore. Always professional, always precise. If people whispered about their relationship, neither acknowledged it. They moved in synchronized efficiency, two strategic minds working in concert. In Lagos, Immani grew increasingly desperate. Her calls to Jamin went unanswered for days. When they spoke, he was distracted and brief. The allowance he provided was generous, but came with financial oversight she found humiliating. I'm his wife, she complained to a friend over drinks. Not his charity case. The friend, Dio, leaned closer. I know someone who might help you. A Korean business rival of your husband's. He's very interested in hearing about Kang's operations. Immani hesitated. What kind of operations? Shipping routes, security protocols, the kind of thing your sister might know. 3 days later, Immani met with a representative of the Seoul-based Jung Syndicate. The man, who called himself Mr. Kim, was polite but direct. Mrs. Kang, we understand your frustration with your current situation. We simply seek information that might level the playing field. And what do I get? Immani asked. Mr. Kim smiled. Financial independence, protection from potential fallout, and the satisfaction of reminding your husband of your value. Immani considered this. I don't have access to his business operations. But your sister does. Mr. Kim slid a phone across the table. This is secure, untraceable. We just need dates, locations, simple information that won't harm anyone. 2 days later, Immani called Zara. How are the shipping manifests organized? She asked after pleasantries. For the Lagos imports? Zara frowned. Why? Daddy asked me to check something. You know how he is. So always trying to keep me involved, even though I don't understand all the boring details. Immani laughed lightly. The reference numbers, the prefixes, I can never remember the system. The manifests are classified, Zara replied. If father needs information, he should contact Jamin directly. That night, Zara reviewed the call logs on the secure server. Immani had never shown interest in business details before. Something felt wrong. When she mentioned her concerns to Jamin, his expression darkened. Show me the timing of her questions. Together, they traced patterns. Immani's sudden interest in shipping schedules, followed by minor security anomalies at specific ports. Nothing concrete, but enough to raise suspicion. We need to be certain, Jamin said. Set a trap. They created a false shipping manifest. A special cargo. See, extremely valuable, traveling an unusual route. The information was planted where only someone with inside access could find it. 3 days later, Zara was working late in her office when she overheard a phone conversation from the adjacent conference room. A junior analyst was speaking in hushed Korean, unaware that Zara understood enough of the language to follow. Coordinates match the manifest exactly. Yes, I'm sure. The Blue Dragon never uses that dock, so security will be minimal. Pause. No, it's coming from Manila, not Shanghai. The container number is KHC-9876. Zara's blood ran cold. That was the false information they'd planted. She found Jae-min in the executive gym, alone despite the late hour. His body moved through traditional martial arts forms with fluid precision, power contained within absolute control. We have a leak, she said without preamble. Jae-min stopped, dark eyes finding hers. Who? Kim Sung-jin, junior analyst in shipping logistics. And the destination? West Harbor, Dock 17, tomorrow night. Jae-min nodded once. Good work. What will you do? His expression revealed nothing. Test a theory. The next day passed intense preparation. Zara was excluded from the security planning, but she understood why. If her suspicions were correct, if Immani was somehow involved, Jamin needed to be certain of Zara's loyalty. That evening, Jamin appeared at her office door. Come with me. They rode in silence to the harbor, accompanied by 4 security men in an unmarked van. Rain fell in sheets, turning the docks into a maze of shadows and reflections. Stay in the car, Jamin instructed as they parked near a warehouse. If something happens, Park will get you out. He nodded toward the driver, who acknowledged with a slight bow. Zara caught his arm. Be careful. Something flickered in Jamin's eyes. Surprise, perhaps, at her concern. He nodded once and disappeared into the rain. From the car, Zara watched shadowy figures moving between containers. Minutes stretched into an hour. Then gunshots split the night. One, then several in rapid succession. Park immediately started the engine, but Zara grabbed his arm. Wait, she ordered. We don't know what's happening. Suddenly, police lights flooded the area. Sirens wailed. Men in tactical gear swarmed the docks. Park's phone buzzed. He answered, listened, then turned to Zara. It's done. We go to him now. They found Jae-min standing under the shelter of a loading dock, speaking with a police captain. Blood stained his white shirt, though he showed no signs of injury. When he saw Zara, he dismissed the officer and walked toward her. Are you hurt? She asked. Not my blood. His expression was grim. We were right. The young syndicate took the bait. And the leak? Confirmed, along with his contact. Jae-min studied her face. Your sister has been very busy. Zara's stomach tightened. You're certain? We traced the calls from Kim Sung-jin to a broker in Seoul who connected directly to a secure phone purchased in Lagos 3 weeks ago. He paused. The same phone that called you asking about shipping manifests. Zara closed her eyes briefly. What happens now? Now we finish what we started. Jamin's voice was cold. Your father's empire falls tonight. Back at Honeywell headquarters, they moved with swift precision. Zara accessed the financial records she'd been quietly organizing for weeks, proof of Chief Balogun's fraudulent transfers, tax evasion, and money laundering operations. Jae-min made calls to contacts in international banking regulation, Nigerian anti-corruption officials, and global financial monitoring agencies. Everything was in place. Once we send this, Jae-min told her, finger hovering over the activation command, there's no going back. Your family loses everything. Zara thought of the mansion in Lagos, the political connections, the wealth built on exploitation and corruption. Then she thought of her mother, one dying because she couldn't afford care at Balogun's hospital, of years spent in the shadows, used for her skills, but never valued for herself. Do it, she said firmly. As the digital evidence cascaded through global financial systems, Zara's phone rang. Immani's name flashed on the screen. She answered on speaker. Hello, Immani. Zara, something's happening. Immani's voice was frantic. Daddy's accounts are being frozen. There are reporters outside the house. What's going on? The truth is coming out, Zara replied calmly. What truth? What are you talking about? A pause. Then Immani's voice turned suspicious. What have you done? Nothing that wasn't already done. The fraud, the laundering, the people hurt along the way. Please, Immani sobbed. You can stop this. You've always fixed things for us. Fix this! Zara met Jamin's gaze across the desk. You were never fighting me, Immani. You were fighting the truth. He's turned you against your own family. No, he gave me a choice, something you and father never did. After the call ended, Zara stood by the window, watching rain streak down the glass. Jamin moved beside her, their reflections ghostly in the darkness. What happens to her? Zara asked. The marriage contract becomes void upon evidence of betrayal, Jamin replied. She loses her status, but not her freedom. And my father? He faces charges in multiple jurisdictions. His political career is over. Zara nodded, emotions carefully controlled. And me? What happens when you no longer need my expertise? Jamin turned to her. That depends on what you want. The next morning, Zara watched international news coverage of Chief Balogun's arrest. Financial crimes charges filed across 3 continents. The Balogun political dynasty collapsing in real time. Immani fleeing to a cousin's home, abandoned by former allies. A knock at her door interrupted her thoughts. Jamin entered, impeccable in a charcoal suit, his expression unreadable as always. The board meeting is in an hour, he said. They've approved your equity stake. Thank you. He studied her. Is that what you want? Thanks. Zara met his gaze. What I want is purpose, control over my own destiny. Then let me offer something else. Jamin placed a folder on the table between them. Executive Director, Hanul Global Logistics, your own division, your own team, building something, not just fixing problems others create. Zara opened the folder. The contract was comprehensive. Salary, benefits, autonomy clauses. This isn't charity, Jamin added. This is recognition of value. Zara looked up at him. Not as your wife. No, as my partner. That evening, they stood on the rooftop garden of the Hanul building. The rain had stopped, leaving the city washed clean, lights shimmering against the dark harbor. I never needed a bride, Jamin said quietly. I needed someone who understands power, not just how to take it, but how to use it. And now? Zara asked. Now I ask, instead of demand. His dark eyes held hers. Stay. Build something with me. Not because you were sold, not because you were rescued, because you choose to. Zara thought of all the choices taken from her over the years, all the decisions made by others that shaped her path. For the first time, the future stretched before her without constraints. Yes, she said simply, I choose this. 6 months later, Zara stood at the head of a conference table in Hong Kong. Around her sat executives from 3 continents, listening as she outlined Hanul's expansion strategy into emerging African markets. Behind her chair, the blue dragon logo gleamed against the wall. In the back of the room, Jamin watched with quiet pride. Not the pride of possession, but of recognition, of seeing potential fulfilled. Later, as they walked along the harbor, he took her hand. A simple gesture, but one that spoke volumes between them. They tried to sell a daughter to save their kingdom, Zara said softly. Instead, they created a queen who built her own. Jamin smiled, a real smile that reached his eyes. The blue dragon chose wisely after all. No, Zara corrected him. The queen chose for herself. Thank you for watching our story. If you enjoyed it, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell to stay updated on all our new uploads. Drop a like and share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. See you in our next video.